Welcome back to the WOW Seat Workspace. I am AliNICOLE WOW, she does it all. And I've been working with Chris Roberts, who is the creator of the platform Deconstructucation. And he serves as a business deconstructor, consultant, and advisor. And we've been exploring options for his new launch of this particular platform and how a media blitz could bring some exposure for his upcoming virtual media tour for the bigger expansion of this empire. We're going to be considering some of the aspects of what we have previously discussed and do some master planning to start creating a timeline and an agenda to get started with the prep for the Media Blitz. So, Chris, are you ready to get started?
Yeah, sure am.
Awesome. Well, I hope you still have your pen and paper, handy as we start going through, some of what we have discussed previously. So just to give sort of a little recap, I was bringing up some considerations for Chris in terms of leveraging actually the platform LinkedIn primarily because that's where he spends most of his social media time is on LinkedIn. And so he's in a process already with several different processes, with me. But one of the aspects that he has been doing more recently and will be accelerating more is in the LinkedIn entrepreneurship and LinkedIn article publishing entrepreneurship aspect. And so I mentioned to him that he could start creating a media press kit article, and it could have within it his signature talk, which that's something we'll talk about even within the master planning, some of the podcast features that he's had around this particular topic, and just anything that relates to the deconstructication platform and the emergence of it. We want, to have it there. And so I've given him a few recommendations in terms of starting a new podcast, even if it's a podcast series, and also creating a LinkedIn business page that will have a different distinction than the Facebook business page. So we're going to just do a little bit more brainstorming, and then we will start sort of building a timeline around this initiative. So, Chris, I would love to, sort of hear your thoughts about just, what has been shared, and also when do you see getting started with this particular aspect?
We had in our master plan that we would get started on May the 1st, where we would share the various aspects and the trainings and the consultancy for deconstructication. So
that's for the media tour, right? For the
yeah.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So that was the focus in my head. And then just before the break, we mentioned about the doing a media blitz. Mm-hmm. And I would think that what we would have to do is probably come the middle of March through to middle of April, maybe. Mm-hmm. That would be the ideal timeline.
Okay.
To actually put something together where we can do, bite-sized pieces of information that we can put out on social media, and just to give the media tour the publicity that it needs, really.
So you said, okay, mid-March, I'm just writing this down, through mid-April. Was that what you said? Or somewhere?
Yeah.
Okay. So then you're looking at actually sort of doing a 30-day initiative. Okay, so great. So I have this down here, a 30-day media blitz. I am super excited. So, within the media blitz, as I mentioned, that it is an opportunity to build up exposure to the initiative. And at this point, even though the Media Blitz seems to be something, separate than the media tour, but they can both, work together like a hand in glove, because I said it's kind of like a pre-tour before the pre-tour. But even if you didn't have a media tour that was coming up and you were just going to use the Media Blitz to get exposure, to the deconstructation. So we can kind of think in terms of what would we actually do if there weren't a media tour. So I'm going to categorize some things for a minute. And there's a reason why I'm doing this, because a lot of times what ends up happening is that the media tour plans sometimes start to take a different direction. And not that it's going to veer off too much, it just evolves and expands. So let's treat the Media Blitz for just a moment. We're just going to isolate a little bit of time here. Let's treat the Media Blitz as if the media tour isn't happening. And what will we be doing? What would we be doing if there weren't a media tour that was coming up? So that could be still getting some features to promote the blog, trying to get followers to the Facebook page, because the goal would be to start building an audience. But people have to know where to go and more about this deconstructication. And even though you do have some features, and the reason why I'm bringing this up is that even though March through April would be good to get the exposure, but do we want to wait until then to do anything else around that? What could be being done now? Could the media press kit be for LinkedIn? Could it be being put together already with what you have? And then by the time March comes, mid-March, then maybe there's the podcast series. So just, I want to hear from you. I'm just saying, if we act like the media tour didn't exist, we're going to bring that back in, but I just want to segment it for a moment to see what will we actually be doing if a media tour was not in place.
Definitely, we set up the Facebook page, and we set up the Facebook group, and we definitely need the audience. We've got an audience on LinkedIn, but we definitely need to have people along on the Facebook page and the Facebook group as well. And that is part of the initial the initial group gathering, because we can't really have a media blitz if we've got nobody to blitz to, shall we say?
Yes, I'm so glad that you brought that up. But what can happen, and in these Genesis phases, and the reason why I wanted to categorize this and say, let's act like a media tour doesn't exist, and what will we be doing in terms of the media blitz? So just as I said earlier, is that the media blitz would almost be like a tour before the actual media tour. In a sense, it's a prep. So basically what I'm saying now is you have to now prep for this media blitz. Does that make sense? And so that's why, yes, you've come up with go ahead.
Basically, we have to prep for the prep.
Exactly, right. So you got it, right? So that's why I said, this is why we're doing a little bit of deconstructication to reconstructication, because though when I started the session off, and I did talk about how this could be a lead-in to the virtual media tour, which is going to be, the bigger expansive initiative. But now we're deconstructing it, and we're taking the media tour and putting it as if it doesn't exist at this time. And how would we be leveraging this media blitz? And so, yes, it is the prep before the prep. And so, with the timeline that you've given to start this media blitz, the 30-day, then that gives the opportunity to, what do we need to prepare for now? Because you're not going to wait until that time when it's supposed to be to start getting booked. So that means we need to start looking at what platforms you may get exposure on, whether it's doing guest blogging, whether it's doing some more, podcast interviews. It also gives me an opportunity to just look and say, I can get you booked here, get you booked here. So it's just the prep before the actual prep, because once that media blitz starts, you want to already have things already in place. And so even if you're putting them in place now, but you're not really fully leveraging them until, that time. So if you start your blog series and leading up to that, you're only, doing a blog a week, because it's just a 3 to 5 part. And you then showcase that blog series more so during, the media tour. The media blitz, and have some articles, maybe like I said, on LinkedIn, that are then pointing people to the Facebook page and the LinkedIn business page, because as I mentioned, we want to make some distinctions where one of the pages can be focused more on the media aspect, like the podcast, so to speak, and the LinkedIn page can be focused more on the business aspect. But the media page will still lead into the consulting. But at least when you're doing media tours, then the Facebook page would be where you want to centralize people, to there, but leverage all the other platforms as allies or assets, to that. Does that make sense?
Yeah, perfect sense.
Okay. All right. So with knowing we have a timeline and mid-March to mid-April, and it's going to be at this point a 30-day media blitz. So you say you have a Facebook group as well you have a Facebook group in addition to the page?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. It says Deconstructucation. Okay. So then do you want to start growing the group by creating, where you already have an audience on LinkedIn, by creating some type of subject, highlight subject to draw people into the group, meaning you create an article, and then within the article you have, join this group. You can offer some type of 5-day challenge, within the group, and give a concept for those 5 days, principles to start looking at business differently. So it could be think differently about your business 5-day challenge, just something, we're just playing around here. Just things to, things to think about. Because as you're seeing, you do have to start to build an audience. But if you can have as much of the prep work out the way, like even with having the article that is a media press kit, and it can be simple. Like I said, you have 2 features already, and just everything that you have could be in there, the blog and the 2 features, and that you are available, to speak. And so, and consult, at this point. And so we want to be able to do that. Those are the things you don't want to, to wait on, is being able to have, whether it's your blog posts that are talking about how you can help, others, or a LinkedIn article that features your other LinkedIn article of Deconstructucation. But you just want to leverage, as much as you can. Something that that I'm a big fan of, and you've actually been doing this, within your articles, is creating the production style articles. So the 2 features that you've had on 2 of my platforms, talking specifically about deconstructication, each of those could be an article with, that feature. And then ultimately, when you create the press kit, those can go, within there as well. But we just want to be able to do some simple things. And so let's come up with 3 things at this point that you can jumpstart the momentum. You can choose to do that all on LinkedIn at this point, and then save the blog. So let's just play around with a few things.
So we can do an article, we can do them on LinkedIn, and we can do them on Tumblr. it's pretty much as you said, really. You know, all the work that we've done, you know, the recordings lately on Deconstructucation, all those can be put within an article. We can link those across into the Facebook group. We can link them into the Facebook page, and the audience that we've got on LinkedIn, we can try and grab as many people as we can who have got the interest over onto the Facebook page, over onto the group, and try and get some interaction on there as well and build up some momentum.
Absolutely. Yes. I like that. Yes, definitely. And one of the reasons why I go back to making the distinction is because, trust me, you're going to be doing more than one media tour as it relates to, you know, your business. And so when you have a page that you can actually have the primary focus of that being Deconstructication media, and then, like I said, you can facilitate your media tours more so on that platform, and then you have your podcast features. Not that you can't put it on other platforms. It's just that it has more of a unique home. And then the business page, you know, we'll build that up, like I said, in a different way because LinkedIn, as you know, is the primary professional hub, you know, for sure. And so being able to have that presence there. So we can at least create the LinkedIn business page, but just start to have the focus now on the for the Media Blitz. And yes, doing exactly what you said, getting some people from there over to Facebook. And then also too, there are people on Facebook that can start to learn more, you know, about the page. So our 3 steps is, okay, articles. So are those articles looking like doing a production article per feature that you've had, and then eventually doing the press kit, or do we just want to start with the 2 article features?
I think if we start with the 2 article features, that would work.
Okay, yeah. And then, of course, you know, you have to be mindful, obviously, of your time and everything. So we have 2 article features. And so that's one aspect that you can work on. And then number 2 is the Facebook page, right?
Yeah.
And leading into the group, which then could bring about another short article on LinkedIn, a short article. So I'm just writing all this down. Short article on LinkedIn. Yeah, I would recommend having some type of challenge in the group because you want to be able to draw people into the group. And do you already have a core focus for the group, or is it just people coming in the group? And is there a core objective in terms of something that you're offering in the group? Is there a course that's being offered in the group, or is it just people getting together that are interested in deconstructication? So if that's not clear, we need to develop some type of intention around that too.
What I was going to do is use that group purely as a primary group. So, you know, we can give people updates on what's happening. We can give advice. We can give,
okay, more like a list, more like a, and I actually leverage that in groups too. I actually have groups where they are getting updates. It's more like, it's more like my newsletter group in a sense. It's more, okay. So if that is that you're growing it for that, for that purpose, but even within that, you would still need to have still something that gets them more interactive. And that's why I do recommend something like having some type of 5-day challenge, at least from a marketing perspective, that you can draw others into that. And or if you do the mini book, you know, it can be a book club or so. There's things, you know, within within there. So so we got the articles. Actually, there's 3 articles that, you know, are going to manifest from this, and then we need a third aspect. So let me think here, because I know I've shared, you know, quite a bit, and it could be that. You know, I mentioned about the emails, you know, thinking about an email, but I mean, that's something that you can, you know, just do, you know, when you're ready. But it may be that just at this point, we just do the 3 articles, and it's just that you have the 2 from the features, and then one that is leading people to the Facebook group and the Facebook page. I'm feeling like there should be one more something though.
Yeah.
So your thoughts?
I'm just, you probably can smell burning at the moment. That's my head thinking.
Is that what that was? Okay.
I'm just wondering whether we do a podcast that covers the aims, like a 3-part podcast maybe. That
if you want to bring that in now, if you want to bring during the series in now, if you were, what I was going to also recommend is that if you didn't have a third key aspect, then maybe it would be just creating the outline for the 30 days for the Media Blitz. So that's, you know, something, well, that's something to add anyway, is, you know, creating, you know, kind of an outline. I mean, we have a timeline. I mean, we know that it's going to be a 30-day, you know, when, but maybe putting, you know, within there, what are some of the aspects, and developing that Media Blitz, almost just like how when you had to do the media tour prep exercise and everything, just creating yourself an outline. If during this Media Blitz, I want to get at least 3 features on, you know, another platform, and in addition to starting my own, you know, podcast, and have at least 3 features of that podcast. So those are just things, but since we are talking about the but if you do want to go ahead and start the podcast, or at least getting it set up and putting a few episodes on there, I think that would be great.
Yeah.
So let's put podcast. All right. So actually, there's kind of 4 things here, because you do need the outline. So we're putting that in there. So be intentional about creating what the 30-day outline, you know, could look like for the Media Blitz, or creating sort of a structure for yourself leading up to this, your preparation agenda. So we have the 2 articles, and the Facebook page and group article, and then starting the podcast. So what timeline are you giving yourself to actually complete this? Is it just by a week or 2 before, or, you know, getting on this now?
I would probably suggest that, you know, where are we now? We're at the 19th of February. I would suggest that we would probably do that, say, first week in March.
Okay. So the first week in March, you can do that. Of course, I'm going to push you just a little bit, because the 2 articles could actually come with the features. Those could actually come out beforehand. But if you want to wait till March and just give yourself the week March 1st through, you know, that first week, you know, then you can.
Yeah.
But keep in mind that still kind of pushing it close, because if we're trying to build an audience, then you got to do some promotion to start getting people. And that actually is why we were doing kind of the prep before the prep is, what can actually be done now to, and that could be just very well putting up a post on LinkedIn or on Facebook and saying, I have, this group, if you're interested in this particular topic, or you can start inviting people from your friends and connections in Facebook, some to start actually liking the page, because when you get at least 25 likes, then you can actually set a username for the page. Yeah. So make that a goal as well. Is let me see if I can get at least 25 people to like my page, and so even if the goal is to be able to set the username, then that's going to be much better to leverage too, whenever you are hyperlinking or putting that, in an article or even on a blog, because primarily you want your ideal audience to be able to find you, and not just have a bunch of numbers of likes. But if you do have to leverage getting at least 25 people, to be able to like it from your current following, then by all means, do so. So this is exciting. Okay, so let me see what we have here again. So we've got 2 articles of productions that are already done, and it's just a matter of just, putting those in to article format, and then the Facebook article, which you may consider doing that more closer to, as you said, March 1st or so, and starting the podcast maybe on March 1st, somewhere in that week. But we need to, like I said, start getting some attention to where you want to direct people to. So again, you could put up just a general post on LinkedIn and Facebook and tell them, where to start directing them to. So like I said, you kind of what you want to do, and your timetable with what you currently have, going on. So it is all about prioritizing, but also keeping in mind that if there's going to be the building of an audience, then you got to start leveraging what you already have, and maybe even showcasing your the article that you have written on deconstructication. So I'm excited about this. I can't wait to do some more building, around this.
It will fly by. It will go quick.
Oh, it will, because March is basically tomorrow. But at least we're moving the energy now, because before you know it, May will be here. And who knows, this may simplify so much that even when it comes to the actual media tour initiative, which we'll bring that back in now, reconstruct at this point, you may have actually taken care of a lot of different things within the Media Blitz, and then you can just leverage a lot of that in the media tour. Like I said, I think the media tour will end up becoming more expansive, but more simplified. And so it may change up a few things just by you moving the energy now. So, yay, I'm excited. I am, because I can't wait for others to start really taking advantage of this concept with you, and these services that that you have. And as you know, I'm always about the now and the next. You got to have what you already do have, the services. If someone was to contact you tomorrow, then yes, of course you could serve them. But we'll start thinking more about, like I said, the product development and having at least some type of action planner for deconstructication, a business planner,
Yeah.
would be a good product. All right. So, are you feeling pretty complete, with this aspect?
Yeah.
Is there anything else?
No, I know I've got enough to do. I know I've got enough to keep me occupied.
Of course. Right. So, what was your biggest takeaway from this workspace session?
When we first started, I was speaking about structure, that sometimes you have to go back to the drawing board and come up with new
Yeah.
structures.
Mm-hmm.
Um, the social media planning side of things is something I've not really been involved with before. So
Mm-hmm.
I also mentioned learning and being thrown in at the deep end on various things.
Yeah.
And this is another one. This is another chance to learn and another
Mm-hmm.
chance to create processes. And I'm always willing to learn, no matter what. You know, um, I remember my dad always saying to me, "You're never too old to learn, and
That's right.
you'll learn something new every day." And
Absolutely.
yeah, that's right.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. Great. Yes, I appreciate you sharing that. And you're right. There's always something to learn, and it's best to be open, and which you always are, and that's why it's always a joy to work with you and collaborate, with you. So, would love for you to quickly share with the listening audience before we wrap up just some simple ways that you can help them get started with their deconstructication. So, someone who's listening says, "Hey, I really want to start this process. Um, you know, how can you help me? And how can I reach out to you at this point to get some help?" And we will have some info in the show description as well, but would certainly love for you to provide some empowerment, or just tell people how you can help them at this point.
If you've got any problems in business at the moment, if you've got any processes that you're struggling with and you want to rethink them, um, or you've just got processes or you've got problems in the business that you want to try and work a way around it, by all means, please give me a shout, because I'd be happy to help. Um, there is always, again, going back to sayings, there's always more than one way of skinning a cat, as they say. And
Definitely.
so, please don't stay up and worry or stress about various aspects of your business. You know, it's not all about business neither. It's all about social conscience as well.
Mm-hmm.
I like to pride
Mm-hmm.
myself on having a social conscience, and
Yes.
I would hate anybody to be going through something that really makes them worry so much that they can't sleep, that they can't eat, or
Right. Yes.
and if I can help in that kind of way. We mentioned mentors before. If
Mm-hmm.
I can help in that sense, I will do. I've like I say, I've been around in business a long while now, and
Mm-hmm.
I've I've been through a few stresses myself in my time, so I know exactly how you feel, and I can empathize. But you know, if we can deconstruct something together, if we can reconstruct it again, and if we can make your empire a better empire, I can be with you all the way.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. And would you like for others to connect with you on LinkedIn, follow you on LinkedIn, or invite them to follow you also on Facebook? Where would you
Yeah.
like to direct them to?
If you follow me on LinkedIn, that would be fantastic. And then, as you will hear by the last segment, I will guide you which way to go on Facebook as well.
Awesome. That's right, because you'll have them in the article archives. That's right. So
Yeah.
you will know exactly, how to connect with him for that particular aspect and dimension of his empire. So, Chris, I just want to thank you so, so very much. And I've had fun, working with you in this workspace here for the WOW seat. I appreciate you so much.
Thank you again. Thanks for having me along, and thanks for sharing your thoughts and your vast knowledge of various aspects as well. I really appreciate you.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate you so much and your words. So, thanks, listeners, for being with us for Chris's session on the WOW Seat Workspace. Also, you can learn more below on how you can work with me on air. And also, be sure to follow the WOW Seat Media on Facebook. Um, you can learn more at www.thewowseat.tumblr.com. And you can also learn more about me on my press site at www.wowshedoesitall.com. We'll have information about Chris and his deconstructication and LinkedIn and other aspects of how you can get in touch with him. Those will all be in the description box. And I want to encourage you to think of ways that you can deconstruct to reconstruct certain aspects of your worthwhile, outstanding work so that you can make an even greater impact in your primary industry and also in the marketplace. I can't emphasize this enough that your WOW mission means more than you could ever imagine. And we need you now more than ever. And until the next session, I want you to be well and stay blessed.